You got anything to start, Lurch?
No, I do not.
Okay.
I've been busy working all day, turning wrenches.
Got patches, Lurch?
Me? Yeah.
Yeah, you.
Yeah, I got a few.
That's right. Patch Addict has premium embroidered patches for every passion. Head over to lawabidingbiker.com/patch addict. Type in the code LAB-15. That's LAB-15 at checkout for 15% off your next purchase and get your patch on. Hey, Bikeaholics, don't forget, Zero 3D has a wide variety of innovative products for Harley-Davidson motorcycles, affordable chrome, lighting, and comfort products. These guys ride and support riders just like you. Head over, check them out right now, lawabidingbiker.com/Zero, CIRO. Oh, yeah. That is right. Getting right into it. Welcome back, Bikeaholics. This is the podcast for the motorcycle majority, the Big MM, also known as the
Motorcycle majority.
No, 99%.
And the 99%.
Already getting off to a rocky start. Lurch over there, he does not have enough whiskey in him. Oh, he's chugging a beer. He's chugging a Modelo. Okay, good to go. All right, guys, that is right. By listening to this very podcast, you are part of what we call
The Biker Revolution.
Yeah, baby.
Got that one right, thank God.
Cleaning it up. Large and in charge of the motorcycle scene more than any time in history. We do have just one question for you, Bikeaholics. What are you waiting for?
Mount up and ride.
Yeah, baby.
Let's take you on another wild-ass ride.
That's right. Welcome back, Bikeaholics. Ryan Erlacher here, your host of the Law Abiding Biker Podcast and your
high-tech redneck.
That is right. The man, the myth, the legend. Oh, who is this we have?
Oh yeah, little girl, I want to touch your silly. Let's get butter and get some chili.
He was ready. He was ready down there. That's right. Of course, Lurch in the studio, and we got none other than Big Daddy Kane remotely via Appear in here or Skype, whatever you want to use. It all's the same. But that is Big Daddy, so there you go. We got quite an episode in store for you guys. Big Daddy, thanks for joining us, buddy.
Yeah, no problem.
You ready?
You guys have been working all day in the shop, and I've been watching my daughter do wrestling tournaments all day, folk style, freestyle, and Greco. So
yeah,
sounds like we've all been busy.
How'd she do?
She took second in Greco and third in freestyle. And in folk style, she went up against some pretty tough chicks, so she didn't medal in the folk style.
So basically, your daughter, what you're saying, can kick your ass now?
Yeah, pretty soon she's going to be able to.
Yeah, right on, dude. How's your volume level there, Lurch, on your headphones? Are they louder than usual?
Maybe a little bit.
What color? You're red?
Take it down a notch.
I know how to take it down because I know what you usually like.
Oh, yeah. You know
there,
how I like
how's
it.
That?
That's better.
Yeah, I figured I looked, it got turned up on the dial. Big Daddy Kane coming in loud and clear. And you heard the up front, straight up Big Daddy, Patch Addict. You've been working on that sponsorship. Bunch of great guys, huh?
Yeah, great guys. American company out of Austin, Texas. And they offered us a 15% discount special deal. So I'm really excited about that and let some of our listeners be able to take advantage of that. And free shipping over $25 too.
Good call, dude. Yeah. You guys, I'm telling you, get over there. These guys stepped up to the plate. They love what we're doing. We like what they're doing. It was a good mesh. Right? Yeah, it was a good effort fit, a good fit. And that's why we brought them on. And they are very astute to the law-abiding biker community, and they wanted to do something for you. And of course, they're sponsoring this episode and many episodes, as you've heard past, and you'll hear into the future. So shout out to Patch Addict. That's right. So today's main topic, guys, you're probably wondering what we're getting into here. Going to be awesome. And I know all of you patrons that have been following it in the private Facebook group, the patron only Facebook group, know a bit about it because Big Daddy is very involved in there. In fact, Ricky Lee, the guy that has more Facebook names than Matt's had girlfriends. Straight up. What is it now? Is it Big Daddy or Ricky? I can't remember. And everybody in the private Facebook group knows exactly what we're talking about, huh, Lurch?
Yeah. He changes Changes his names like I change my underwear.
Right, yeah.
Once a week.
Big Daddy changes his Facebook name once a week just because he can. And he doesn't tell anybody. And we're all like, okay, what is he now? And then you see, oh, that must be him. So we got to bust your balls about that, Big Daddy. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. He's like, I can't defend it. You're right.
No, I had Lab Rick for forever. And then I took some class on safety, on internet safety for law enforcement. And they say not to use your, real name. So I just kind of switched things over. I didn't really have to, but this way family could know who I was. I had a family turning me down. They're like, who's Lab Rick? So
right. Well, I'm screwed then because anybody can find my place, dude. As much as I'm on the internet with my YouTube channel, dude.
What else are they going to find if they come here unwelcomed?
If you call me or ask, I'll tell you my address. I really don't care. Yeah, I'll give it to you.
Don't show up unwelcome.
Yeah, don't show up unwelcome. But yeah, that's fine. I'm not. But yeah, safety source. That's good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then met a guy that was a big fan of yours down here in Pasco, Washington on Friday night.
Yeah, that was interesting. Tell us that little story there.
Yeah, I was going to look at a trunk. They don't make the mounting kits for the 95 to 08s, or at least they don't advertise them on the Harley site anymore. And a guy had a trunk and the mounting kit and everything. And I was thinking about picking it up to put on the back of Chola, maybe if I take her for a long ride this summer.
I've got a mounting plate that came off my 08. You can have it if it fits.
Oh, look at that. Live right here.
Yeah, I just need the plate that goes to the trunk so you can put it in the quick detach.
Got it.
Yeah, that'll be perfect.
Yeah,
this guy had the whole setup.
Ryan likes to not save parts, but anytime I take something off and put in a box, I've got a box of parts going back 3 or 4 bikes ago because you just never know when you might need something. I'm a bit of a hoarder, so I'll pull that out of there and take a look at it.
Yeah, that'll be nice because then maybe I can go on and get one of those little bit cheaper trunks and just mount it to that and save me some money. But this guy had a whole setup and he kept, it was kind of funny. He kept telling me that it would fit any bike. And I'm like, no, it won't. It'll fit to 2008. And he's like, oh, fit any bike. I just got my first Harley, a little bit ago, but it'll fit any bike. And I'm like, no, it won't. It'll only fit to 08.
Yeah, I bought a newer one so that I could use my old trunk on my new bike. I just have to get it painted up.
Yeah, and this guy, he was a nice guy, but he ended up recognizing the law-abiding biker patch I had on my jacket. And he's like, yeah, that's Ryan Urlacher from Sela.
Right on.
That's awesome, dude.
I'm like, yeah, I know him. And he's like, oh, sweet. How do you know him? And I'm like, yeah, he's a friend of mine. And
then he recognized you then because we talked about this. Then he said, oh, you're Big Daddy when you told him I'm Rick Kane.
Yeah,
and then are you Big Daddy? Yeah.
Yeah, I run the store and I'm Big Daddy. And he's like, oh, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's happening more and more. As we're out there, it's interesting to meet people and that they know us before we know them. You know what I mean? Until they reveal. So you're nicely trying to basically tell them that, no, it doesn't fit that.
It would have worked perfect for mine. It's just he was missing the little swivel part that connects in onto the quick detach on the bike. That was broken, and then there were some scratches in the trunk, so I just decided not to buy it. Nice guy. I told him to put it on eBay. He could probably sell it for $300, $350 and just buy some replacement latches, but I didn't really want to go through all that, especially, I don't, the trunk was a Harley-Davidson trunk, but I don't think the mounting kit was a Harley-Davidson one. It looked a little thin.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, the trunk that I have actually isn't a Harley-Davidson trunk either, but the detachable hardware is, so you should be able to use this and put just about whatever trunk you want on there.
Yeah, that'll work great. Yeah. Give it a try.
You bet. I'll dig it out for you.
Okay, so this is live. I'm trying to sell we did the Dyna Lowrider S project, and I'm trying to sell the OEM handlebars, Rick. And I told you I was going to do this. We're going to do this on the podcast, dude. But I put them on there, Rick, 7 days ago, and it's 2 hours till the auction ends now. And I don't mind, I'll give them to somebody, really. But I was trying to sell them, and 250 watchers and 22, is that bids? But it can't be because, anyways.
You got 3 bids.
I got 3 bids. I'm charging $30 for shipping.
200 and some views and only 22 watchers.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. That's, views and watchers.
Views / watchers.
And so anyways, Rick, tell me, you guys, this is good, actually. This is a good conversation piece. So the top bid right now, 2 hours to go, is $21.50. I charge $30 shipping, Rick, for those bars. You're a shipping expert from the Law Abiding Biker Store. Am I going to get? I just don't want to. I don't want to spend a half hour getting a box and packaging these things to make $5 frickin'. You know what I mean?
Well, those are you're talking the ones you just took off of
the stock
lowrider?
Harley Dyna Lowrider S off the 2016
They're nice
stock.
bars
They're nice
and
bars and
risers.
risers. $21.50, and I don't want to package them and make $5.
Dude, those from Harley-Davidson are very expensive.
I know. So
I bet you it's $400 worth of parts there if you bought that individually.
right, and so
Yeah, because those are the 1.5 inch, aren't they?
they're true 1.5, and they don't neck down at the clamp to 1 inch like all the stock bars. They stay true 1.25, 1 1/4 all the way through with the neck. Yeah, they're very unique because that bike's unique.
Yeah, and are they? That's fly by wire, ain't it?
It is. It's throttle by wire. It's all set up for throttle by wire.
Somebody's gonna get a hell of a deal.
No, I think I'm going to pull them, dude. That's why I'm going to stop the auction now. That's what I'm saying. You can pull the auction before it ends because for $21.50, I don't even know if shipping, will it be more than $30 to ship those in the U.S.?
Well, that's tough to say. Last time I sold some bars, I spent about $35-$40 to ship them. But
See
those
what I'm
were
saying?
big old 14-inch ape hangers, though.
This is a good topic because
This is a great topic.
It is hard to sell your stock stuff on eBay.
It is.
We tried selling stock exhaust, stock mufflers. You just can't get rid of it.
I stopped trying, and then me and Matt
You feel bad about just taking it and
Right.
throwing it in the garbage for scrap metal. but
Totally.
You can't even sell the damn stuff.
What's not worth my time to go buy a box, shipping, my time invested in it, print labels for $20. It's just not even worth my half hour of time.
It just seems like a sin to huck it in the metal, recycle bin.
If somebody local, I'll give them to them. I mean, that's a lot of work to ship them here when it's going to cost me $34 to ship them. And so let's say I take another $10 out of that profit. I've made like $15 for probably 45 minutes work by the time I take them and ship them and package them and label, I just feel bad. So I think I'm going to pull that auction. What do you think? What do you guys think live here?
Pull it.
Okay. So you go to and it is, and we stopped putting stuff on eBay, but Matt, you talked, which is fine. You talked me into it last week and you're like, dude, you should try to sell those. We saw another pair on eBay, but that guy wasn't getting any bids either.
No, he had them at a buy it now price of a couple $100
You're
or
right.
something like that.
And so I'm doing it right now. End item. You go into your items, you end item, and let's see what kind it gives me. I'm signing in.
Boy, this is stimulating stuff right here.
I don't think you can end it if it's less than 24 hours.
You
from the end of
currently
the
have
auction.
bids on your listing. Please select one of the following options. Cancel bids. And this is good for other guys too, because they may not know you can do
Yep.
this. We will automatically cancel all bids and notify the bidders. To avoid paying a fee for ending your listing early, check to see if you can revise your listing. The reason for early ending will appear in the listing. You can select a reason on the next page. In an effort to minimize disappointing experience for buyers, we discourage you from ending many listings early. If you've already ended another listing during this calendar year, we may charge you an end auction listing early fee to end this listing. I've never ended one. Should we do it? Should we cancel bids?
Let's do it.
Cancel bids. Let's see what's the worst that can happen.
Do it.
Your
Do
listing can't be ended early if there are bids on the item. The reserve price has been met. I didn't have a reserve price.
Well, there you go.
Or the listing ends in 12 hours. So you're right, Big Daddy. If it's less than 12 hours,
Looks like you're shipping those bad boys.
but we can revise it. I can't revise the price though, probably.
No.
So you're basically, if you don't do it for 12 hours, you're screwed. So somebody's getting bars and I got to spend 45 minutes of my time to ship these damn things.
Well, it'll be their good fortune and you're doing somebody a favor. So just look at it that way.
I guess. So I can't end my other item. I mean, somebody's going to get a $70 ABS brake block for $10.
Yeah, that was your other item up
That's
there.
easy to ship though. I just do a flat rate small box and slap it in there. Okay. That was a good talk. So yeah, selling stock parts on eBay for Harley. We have had zero. And as you see, that was live. I was bidding or doing an auction. You literally can't sell the crap and it's not worth listening. That's unfortunately why we have piles of stock parts, because although those bars are badass, somebody's just going to buy a different aftermarket, but somebody is on eBay getting, the three guys that bid that are like, I'll take them for that price. And then they'll probably turn around and relist them and make more money or something.
Who knows? Or maybe they have a bike they figure they can put them on, because you can put them on just about any
Harley-Davidson,
anything. Yeah.
any triple tree, it'll fit.
Yep.
And they're badass bars.
You still got those chrome T-bars from
Yep.
the denim one?
Sitting outside by the garbage can up against the wall.
What?
Well, yeah.
I think I'm gonna try to talk my dad into putting those on his Dyna.
Well, when they're yours, you just got to take them up. No, they're not marred up. They're just sitting against the wall where I put that garbage can outside my house, just sitting under the little overhang. I don't have any room on my shelf, so they're not. Nothing's damaged to them. They're just sitting there.
I remember when those bars were fly. I bought an 89 or a 90. Maybe it was a 90 Fat Boy. It was just a real pig of a bike. Needed a new paint job, etc. So I stripped it down and had my uncle paint it. And then I put a set of those White Brother 30.5-inch T-bars, and that was back when they were.
Oh yeah,
probably about 90 or probably about 2003, 2002 when those bars were like the hot thing. Man, I thought I was hot shit running around with those White Brothers black bars, all super wide T bars. Man, I thought they were cool looking back then.
That's what I put on my Y Glide. I had some Burley T bars. I put them on an 06 Y Glide. Same thing, nice wide, tall T bars.
Yeah, baby. You know, we love Patch Addict, but we want to thank the following people for making this episode possible. They are
Kelly Minton of what is that name? Masaryk Town, Florida?
Masaryk Town.
Masaryk Town, Florida. He's a top tier patron. Thank you, Kelly. Jason Richardson of Arlington, Virginia. Pat DeCorato of La Habra, California.
Obie Donaldson of Jacksonville, Florida. Top tier Gregory Pennington, location unknown. Ross Tomez of Burbank, Illinois. That's right. They took action. lawabidingbiker.com/Patreon, Patreon. They got hooked up. They just took action. They want to make sure this content continues into the future. They want to support us. That's their way of saying, yes, we like what you're doing. We want it to continue. And what else? They helped put a little fuel in the law-abiding biker gas tank.
And kept us running on down the road.
That's right, guys.
Now I see why you gave me the first group there because of, I think that's got to be a typo. Masaryk,
probably.
Florida.
Probably.
I see what you're up to.
Yeah, well, we can check that just to call your shit right here.
All right. Do it live on there.
I'm Googling it. Right there.
Oh, my
spelled
goodness.
it right, and it is a place. And it's,
how do you pronounce it? Does it say it there?
It's MASARYKTOWN, Florida. Masaryk Town, Florida.
Wow. What a mouthful.
Boom. Straight up, dude. Mm-hmm. That's for you. There you go. I wouldn't have known either.
Epic failure.
I thought I spelled it wrong, too. But yeah, the patrons, guys, and that's right, no risk, guys. You can pledge a certain amount per piece of content, no risk. You can put a monthly cap on it. We're just growing the community, private Facebook group. You can get t-shirts and top tier access to all our premium videos up on request. Our main topic today, Lurch just pushed the on-air light on straight up because...
I keep forgetting to do that every time we get on air. When we're live on the
everybody calls us on it.
YouTube, everybody tells me to turn it on, but I forgot. It's on now.
It's on for all you listeners.
All you button pushers that are worried at home that I didn't have it on, it's on.
So rewind this episode and start from scratch because we're technically on air now.
Well, the one at the bottom of the stairs was on.
Oh, did you kick that one?
Oh, yeah.
Good. Okay. Our main topic, which is why we love having Big Daddy on the episode and taking his night after a busy weekend. Thank you, Big Daddy. But this is all about, and again, I alluded to it earlier and we changed subjects like usual here, but he, in that private Facebook group, Patron Only, he's been talking about this, so you guys will know what we're kind of had a heads up about this. But many people were waiting for us to talk about it. Now, why don't you just, basically what it is we're going to talk all about Chola. You guys have heard of his motorcycle, Chola. We've talked about in the past. In fact, we did a whole episode on Chola and the history, and it's just one of his favorite bikes, and he's probably keeping it forever because he's done so much stuff to it. Look in our past episodes on, just look up Chola and
106.
That's good. Good job. He already looked it up. So episode 106, and you can learn the foundation. And there's just it was one of our very popular episodes. People really liked Rick talking about Chola and how he got it. And it's got a really rich history, which at the end of the day makes the bike, right? I mean, the bike's one thing, but the history behind some of these bikes and some of the things you've done to them and been with them is clearly one of the reasons you keep it, which is Rick's case. So please go back, catalog that, and listen to episode 106. But he recently had it was actually EFI. What year is it again, Rick? I always off one year.
It's an 01 Road King, and it had a Magneti Marelli Italian designed EFI system that was used from
That was stock from Harley. Used it when?
95 to 01. It's
95
a system
to 01.
that was used on Italian sports cars, but it doesn't use an O2 port. And then in 2002, they went to the Delphi systems that used a oxygen sensor.
So 95 to 01, they used the Magneti Marelli.
Yeah, Magneti Marelli.
Oh, Magneti. I'm writing this down. Magneti Marelli. And then after 01 to what they used?
In 2002, they switched the EFI system to a Delphi-based system.
That's right, the Delphi. Yep,
Yeah.
I'm familiar with that.
So the Magneti Marellis are, once if somebody really knows how to tune them,
that was your carburetor. I think I said EFI.
Yeah.
So that was
the EFI.
Huh? It is the EFI. Changed, yes. And so the episode, we changed it back to carbureted, right? Okay, my bad.
Hello?
Yeah.
We're waiting for you. Sorry, I was just cleaning up.
I'm waiting for the dream sequence.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You're right. I need to give you a soundboard down there. Taking it back. Good call, Rick. I need him up here. See, but yeah, changed it from 9501 the Magneti Marelli 02. They started using the Delphi.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a lot of people recognize that Delphi name from Chevrolet components and stuff like that. You see Delphi stereo systems and stuff. So basically the Magneti Marelli system, you either love it or you hate it. And if you talk to certain mechanics, that truly understand the system and are able to tune it correctly, they really like it. But for a guy like me, it's a little bit more difficult for me. I mean, even with an EFI tuner, you can try to get it, but because it doesn't use an oxygen sensor port, you're not getting that real-time live feedback like you will with modern cars and modern bikes. And I started to experience problems with the EFI unit.
So stop there real quick. Hold that thought because I want to make sure I'm hearing it right. So it didn't have oxygen sensors.
No.
Okay. It was an EFI without oxygen sensors.
Yes.
Okay. Roll with that. Cool.
So originally when we started on this project, I didn't know much about this EFI system. I knew something was up when I first bought the bike. When was it? In 2000, I don't know, 4 or 5 or 6, whenever it was, that they didn't make a cruise control module for it. I thought that was kind of odd. Why would they offer a cruise control module for 2002 and newers, but they wouldn't for the older bikes? And of course, then you start to realize that there's some different movements and parts that are necessary for this EFI system. So we were coming back from that. The guys were up camping, if you remember, up at one of the lakes up there.
Soap Lake?
Yeah, you guys were up there camping, and Ryan and I rode up and met you guys.
I still have video of when you broke down, bro. I still have it, and I've never put it out I had it because I was going to do a vlog on it, and I still might use it for something, but I have it pitch black. I used my iPhone and a light and just got it because it was live and real. Go ahead.
Yeah, and the bike was running great the whole way up there. Remember, we left, I think, around like 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock and headed up to meet these guys for Oscar's birthday. They were up there camping, staying there, and so we ended up leaving, and right there below on the Columbia River, as it heads up towards back towards the Hanford Nuclear Reservation there, the bike just all of a sudden just died, just stopped running. So we were literally stranded.
About a mile south of the Vernita Bridge, Matt, to put it in, right before you go up the hill around that corner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just
windy.
Nothingness. Yeah.
Dark and windy.
Black.
I
mean, midnight, black. I mean, you couldn't see anything. No street lights, no stars, no moon.
It was crazy black, dude.
It was weird. I mean, obviously there was a moon, some stars, but they were not illuminating the thing at all. And we've got semis and trucks going past us, and I'm stressed out because I'm basically thinking this bike's just going to have to be left here, and I'm going to have to ride bitch all the way back to my house or Ryan's
Which
house
I was already telling him. I was already telling him, dude, I don't care. We'll leave it here. Get on my bike. We'll ride back. We'll go to Tri-Cities. We'll do whatever. We'll stay up all night. We'll get my trailer if we have to. We'll go. We'll come get it. But yeah, get ready to ride bitch.
Yeah, and you had something going on the next day too, where you had to be like somewhere like at 7 or 8 in the morning, right?
I did, but I told you, no matter what, we'll get it. We're not leaving this bike out here all night.
Yeah. And so we turn around. Luckily, this is why you carry a toolkit, and this is why you carry flashlights. And initially, I thought maybe it had something to do with the EFI, because I had just, the bike had been running absolutely perfect. And I bought a Cobra EFI unit and had hooked it up because I was getting some pretty poor mileage out of the bike. And so I was able to kind of lean it out a little bit with this Cobra EFI, and it was running great for like 6 months. And a week before this ride, I switched it over. Oscar and I were talking, and I decided to switch it over to a Power Commander system. So I bought a Power Commander 5 for it. And the thought process was the Power Commander 5, through the company I bought it from, will make you custom maps. And when I throw in 100 cubic inch big bore kit on it and some 510 gear drive S&S cams, that I would be able to have a custom map made for it, and it would be a little bit more easier, sophisticated. So at this point in time, I had researched a little bit about carb conversions, but I'd pretty much decided that I was going to go ahead and stick with the EFI at that point, just due to cost and wanting to put the big bore kit. And so initially, when I broke down, I thought it had something to do with the Power Commander 5. That's what I was concerned
We were both
about.
thought it was. First thing we checked is started checking Power Commander 5 plugs and everything.
Yeah. And then somehow, some way, I don't know how we did it, but I disconnected that Power Commander 5 and plugged back in the stock ECM, and we got it fired up. It was burning so rich.
Oh my God.
Ryan
Flames were shooting out of that mother.
We had flames coming out like old school. I mean, they should have called, if you would have been there, Lurch, you would have been calling me Fonzie, man. This was like old school flames firing out. I mean, I always wanted to have a system like that on a bike where I could hit a little switch and there'd be some flames coming out like you see like in Greece and some of those old 50s cars, you know. But this was like literally from like too much fuel and detonation, and then it getting hot and exploding. But somehow we got it fired up, and we went through a half a tank from Vernita Bridge to my house, which is like 30 miles.
Wow.
And it was not running good, though. It was hard. It was a bear for him to even keep running. And it would go for a little while, and it seemed like he was doing fairly decent, even though I was riding behind him, and it just fucking reeked. Like, I was like, he's literally shooting like wet fuel out of his exhaust pipes. I was like, holy shit, dude. And then it would just dog down, and he would be going like 10 Rick, like 10 miles an hour. And I was like, oh shit. And then it would get a little, and it would take, is that what, is that a good recollection?
Yeah. It was like the last 2 miles before my house. I was like, you got to be kidding me. Is this bike really going to break down 2 miles from my house at 1:30 in the morning?
Although it was still better than breaking down by the Vernita Bridge. It was still like, at least it's 2 miles from home.
Yeah. And so
I followed him, of course. It was not my plan. I was going to split off at the West Hanford gate and come home. And I was like, no, I'm following you all the way.
Oh, yeah, you got it.
Yeah. So we got it home, and then took it up to the dealership because none of the mechanics I knew over here that worked on older bikes would work on it because of this fuel injection system. I mean, these are all guys that are trained by MMI. They're very familiar. And first of all, the dealership in my city wouldn't even take it. They said that it was over 10 years old and they wouldn't work on it, which just floored me. And I'm not talking crap about
your regular Harley dealership.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've had other problems with that dealership, by the way. So yeah.
Well, I mean, great guys.
No, the guys are fine.
I like them.
Yeah.
But originally they didn't want to work on it because the bike was over 10 years old. So then I started calling a couple guys that I knew down here. In fact, one of the guys that helped me with the carb conversion kit, and he's like, man, without the computer, there's not much I can do on this.
If you left it EFI to fix the current state of affairs, right?
Yeah, and which we did end up getting it fixed.
So hang on. So let's put this in perspective. So you got a Harley-Davidson motorcycle and you went to a Harley-Davidson dealership and they said they won't work on the Harley-Davidson motorcycle because it's over 10 years old. This is brilliant. Is that that is unbelievable.
That's what they told me. They said that they wouldn't work on it because it was over 10 years old. And I said, but it's a twin cam 88. It's no different
and
than
it's
your
a Harley.
103.
You're a Harley-Davidson dealership, right? Because I'm pretty sure on this tank it says Harley-Davidson.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
They wouldn't work on it if the bike was over 10 years old. So fortunately, I called down and spoke to Paul at the Yakima dealership, and they said, absolutely, we'll take a look at it. And
I see stuff like that, yeah.
And I wonder if it depends on the mechanics they have. You know, if they've got mechanics down at that shop down in your neck of the woods that haven't worked on the older bikes.
Hang on, though.
And I'm just saying, hold on.
Okay,
Depending on when they got trained and what they know of.
Down.
You know, some people are going to be more capable of working on an older bike depending on how long they've been a mechanic and what type of training they have.
Okay.
I'm not making excuses.
No,
I'm just saying that I wonder if that's the reasoning. That's a newer dealership down there. Maybe they got some younger mechanics that don't know how to work on these older bikes. Whereas a shop up here, they got a couple trusty old dudes back there that know how to work on that stuff.
No, we do have a lot of good mechanics up here, but and I get it. I'm totally with you. I got to bust your balls a little bit though. On the flip side of that, if you had a Chevy pickup and you took it to the Chevy dealership and they told you they wouldn't work, I mean, come on. Dude, you should not have a dealership if you don't have mechanics that can work on the Harley-Davidson. I mean, have you ever taken your truck to a dealership and they're like, it's shit. What if it was only 9 years old, we'd work on it, but it's 10. You know what? We don't even give a shit that it's a Chevy anymore. We know we're a Chevy dealership, but we ain't working on your shit anymore. We don't even warranty. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's
I hear what
awkward.
you're saying. I'm just wondering if that's the reason.
Probably, which they probably should be a dealership then.
It probably is part of that, but Scrappy, come on. I mean, it's a twin cam 88. This ain't like it was some foreign motor. I mean,
correct. You meant lurch. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. It's not foreign. It's a Harley-Davidson. Yeah. But anyways,
it's a twin cam 88 versus a 103. I mean, there's some little bit of differences, but anyways, we found the dealership down there and they worked on it. In fact, we figured out what was wrong with it pretty quick.
Where did you have it work? No,
Yakima.
Yeah. I brought it up here to Yakima. Okay, cool.
Yeah. I trailered it up to Yakima and I had, Brad looked at it and we won't say any last names.
No, Brad's a good mechanic. Him and Ray.
He figured out pretty quick what was wrong with it. And what it ended up being was the cam timing sensor and the neutral throttle sensor on this Marelli M&M. We'll just call it the M&M EFI, make it a little bit easier. It actually has, when you start the bike and you click the on switch, it has a neutral throttle sensor that actually goes out, which then allows a higher input of fuel to start. Well, apparently mine was broke, and so it wasn't allowing it to go out and in. So they replaced it. Cost me like $800 to have them do this work on it, because, like I said, no mechanic would touch it down here because they didn't have the computer. Right. They weren't sure what it was.
And with that, keep that thought. I just want to tell the audience, we do a lot. We do at least 90% of our own labor. You guys see it on our YouTube channel, our for purchase videos. You hear it on the podcast. But there are some times, in this case, like Rick said, no matter how bad we wanted to do it, you can't, because you need very expensive computers to do some of that stuff, So I want to make sure we put that out there, that's the reason we couldn't do this project. No, we wanted to. We talked about it. We're like, and then he started talking to people and you're like, you need fancy computers, and Lab, unfortunately, does not have enough money to buy fancy diagnostic computers. And so, unfortunately, on stuff like that, you're kind of stuck going to, a dealership, and that's what Rick did in this case. So yeah, carry it from there, Rick.
Yeah. So we got the bike. I mean, you and I did talk about that. You were like, well, let's just buy the software. What is it? Just like some software, or is it just a computer? And I'm like, dude, this is the Harley-Davidson Diagnostic tool. It's going to cost you like $30,000, man.
Right. The official.
I don't think we can afford that just for this. But they got it fixed, and I went up and picked it up on the trailer because I didn't really want to take a chance on a ride all the way from Yakima down to the dry shitties, trying to, feel this thing out. I figured if I was going to take it on a test run, I wanted it to be around me. And so we trailered it home, and a couple days later, I went and I rode the bike down to Sunnyside, and I met Justice down there for some clam chowder and
Jake Justice
salad. Yeah. And after we had lunch, I started riding it back, and guess what it did? broke down again.
And that's after they did the neutral sensor, right?
Yeah, after they had done the work, it broke down again. And so this time I got to push it 1.5 miles to my house.
No.
He told me this. I'm just like, are you fucking insane, dude?
Yeah, my thighs were on fire, dude. Because,
well, no shit.
I don't run anymore. I mean, I've lost a lot of weight, but I don't run a bunch. And I'm going to tell you, pushing that Road King 1.5 miles, man, I got a hell of a workout.
Dude, I don't know if I could do that, honestly. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, and so I called the dealership that did the work on it, and I explained to them, and they're like, "Man, we're really sorry about that. Get it up here ASAP. We'll fit it in ASAP." So we got it back on the trailer, and this was about 4:00 in the afternoon. So we hurry up and got it up there before they closed at
6 p.m. Yeah, they closed their shop.
Yeah, and so they had it for a week, and they told me to come pick it up, that it was fixed, and I went back, and I can't remember if it was Ray or
Steve,
Brad.
maybe Steve or Brad. Ray, Steve or Brad.
Yeah, it was one of the two. Said that they let it cool down. They looked at it. They took it on several 30-mile test rides, and it never redid exactly what it did.
One of those great problems. Don't you love those problems? And it's not their fault because those are all good mechanics. It's just sometimes things are sporadic.
Yeah, they checked the brand new parts that they just put in, the cam timing sensor and the neutral throttle, and they said, nope, everything works fine. We don't know why this happened, but we couldn't get it to recreate it. So just ride it. And so you guys both know that Chola didn't get a lot of work out other than local rides back and forth to work and stuff at the end of last summer just because of that. And I never had the issue come up again. Never had it come up again. But that kind of is what sparked me to start looking for another option away from this M&MI system. And I had a couple different options to look at.
Awesome, dude. And we're going to continue this. Pick it right up. That is right. Bikeaholics, feed your addiction. Patch Addict has badass embroidered patches for every passion. And the quality is unmistakable from this family-run company based out of Austin, Texas. Yeehaw! More than 800 patches to choose from. These patches look great on vests, hats, gear bags, motorcycle covers, and more. A huge assortment. Lurch, a huge assortment of large back size. It's huge. It's going to be huge. Huge assortment of large back size patches, plus military, Irish, religious, funny, patriotic, road sign patches, and more. They design their own patches, so they have dozens of exclusive patches that you won't find anywhere else, guys. Head over to lawabidingbiker.com/patch addict. You'll get free shipping on every order over $25 plus 15% off when you use the coupon code, the special code, LAB-15. That's LAB-15. Get hooked up and get your patch on. So, Rick,
those
go ahead.
Those guys are a great company. I mean, I know we talked about them being from Austin, Texas and stuff, but I actually bought some of their patches. Bought a
you did a bunch.
Green. Yeah, I got an OD green American flag and a Don't Tread on Me, and this is good quality stuff, man. And these guys have been great to work with. So you guys show them some love for us.
Yeah,
go
in stereo
and buy and use that LAB-15 coupon. Get that 15% off. And tell them you heard it from us, because we'd like to keep them around. They are just the kind of American company we want to deal with. Absolutely.
Yep. Well said, American. Yep. And they are, guys, and they're really supporting us. So if you're going to buy patches, please look them up and use our codes and stuff. It sends some love their way, and it shows that, we're reaching out. All right, there you go. So you decided, Rick, that, so it broke down again. Is that what you said after this? You pushed it the 1.5 miles. That was the last time it broke down?
That was the last time. So I had it fixed and took it for a test run down the Sunnyside, and it broke down again. Took it up to the Yakima dealership, and they couldn't get it to recreate it and never had the issue. And so I brought it back home and rode it the rest of the summer and fall on short rides, and didn't have any more issues. But that's what sparked the decision on replacing this M&M EFI system with something. And that's when I started really doing some research.
Because you guys, you can say, well, why did Rick do that? Well, it was running fine. He never got it to recreate the problem, and he could have been fine. But again, I'm just going back to what Rick said earlier, and that is these systems were kind of known for this kind of problem. And Rick had done some research and he realized that these were this kind of problem. And remember the history of this bike. If you listen to episode 106, this bike isn't going anywhere, and Rick rides the living shit out of it. And he wants something that he knows is 100% reliable for him. So I think that was probably one of your factors, huh, Rick?
Yeah. I mean, I could have continued on with this M&M EFI. In fact, I sold the entire induction system units, ECM, everything on eBay to a gentleman who was rebuilding another bike. And
nice. Hopefully you got more than $25 like me on the bars.
Yeah, I did. I did pretty well.
Good.
But he did pretty well too, because to go and try and find these systems and put them into bikes, because like I said, they were 95 to 01 in the EFI bikes, but those bikes are starting to not be around as much anymore. A lot of those bikes, 95 to 01, even on up to 2005, were carbureted bikes. I mean, we forget how exclusive EFI was on some of those bikes back then. I mean, they only offered them in the ultra limited, I think, and like the Road King Classics. You couldn't get the regular Road King with an EFI system. It had to be the Classic.
Correct. Even my 05 Wide Glide, that was
an
the
option
first
for you,
year.
right?
It was an option, and I went with the EFI. Yeah, on my 05 Dyno Wide Glide. Yeah.
Yeah, I think 06 was when I bought mine. Then it became
It's pretty standard in 06.
Yeah, so all the way up to 05, it was still an option on a lot of bikes.
Yep, true that.
My 2003 anniversary Electric Glide Standard was a carbureted bike, and I specifically, that model, the Standard, only came in the carbureted, but of course the Ultra Classics and then the regular Classics all came. But this M&M system is a bulletproof system if you know how to work it and use it. And I could have stuck with it, but I decided to go a different route, and I really had those two options. And one is a EFI to carb conversion, or the other option was to do a Zippers Performance conversion from M&M to Delphi type system. And so I had a couple different options. I could stay EFI and go with the Zipper Performance package, or I could go to a carbureted bike. And there's definitely some differences there between both, more than just saying, well, one's carbureted, one's EFI. The Zipper Performance system is basically a full conversion to a Delphi style system, which is your modern day type system. So I would have had to have gotten new headers with O2 ports, with the 12 millimeter to 18 millimeter ports, because remember, my bike doesn't have an O2 sensor on it.
Right. Good info.
And there would have been some positives to that too, because then I probably could have went and got a cruise control module.
Oh, yeah.
2002 and newer, because I'm converting it over to a Delphi type system. So I probably could have bought a cruise control for it, versus before I could never provide one, because the M&M cruise control modules just aren't available anymore, unless you can find one every once in a while on eBay or at some kind of scrapyard. But that was a very expensive system. It's about $2,500 just for the system, just to do the conversion.
That's the Magneti Marelli to the Delphi.
Yeah,
$2,500.
What?
Just parts.
Let me interrupt you just for a second, because the audience is probably wondering, and I know I'm wondering. Zippers, is that a manufacturer? They put together a kit?
Yeah, Zipper Performance is a high performance company, and they put together a complete kit where they're basically they're tricking your ECM to think, hey, you don't have this M&M anymore. You have a Delphi, and then you add the O2 sensors, and you replace some important stuff like the ignition systems and stuff. I mean, it's a rather intricate kit, and it's very well thought of. It's basically taking your M&M and bringing it into a little bit more modern technology, for lack of a better term.
That's fascinating. Because I didn't know that. I've never looked into that stuff. That's really cool. So yeah, it tricks it into thinking it's a more modern system. Wow. Wonder how many of those they sell, those kits. $2,500 just for parts though, right?
Yeah, it was. I'm rounding up a little bit. I think it was 24 something, but $2,500 just for the parts, and that's not including. And there's quite a bit to it because not only are you stripping off the entire EFI, the M&M EFI system, but you're actually turning around. And I believe it's been a couple of months since I looked at it, but I believe it's not replacing the the stock ECM. Although I could be wrong on that, but it's a full-on conversion to the Delphi system, and so there's some real advantages to that. I mean, stay in EFI, smoothness of flow, etc. But
do they so you'd have to weld 12 millimeter bungs for your O2 sensors in your pipes or get new pipes, right?
Yeah, you'd have to get new headers or you'd have to weld the bungs in.
Okay. Wow.
And that's a little bit more money. And I've heard some horror stories of people who've paid people to weld in bungs and then they haven't, and you have to be in a certain position because they have to be just like the stock position. They tell you the template of where they have to be mounted because the wires are only so far. So
you don't want your bunghole in the wrong position.
Rick's had his bunghole in the wrong position. You heard what happened. It was dark that night. I'm just telling you he doesn't know what happened.
Yeah, I got hit over the head with a mag light. Next thing you know, I wake up
sucking his thumb.
The bunghole's in the wrong position. I'm sorry, I couldn't help.
It is funny. I saw you thinking of something over there. You started laughing before you said it. Oh, good. Yeah. So that sounds like a badass deal, though. I mean, zippers. That doesn't sound like a bad deal if a guy wanted to do that. Right on. Mm-hmm.
No, I totally would have. It's just that for me, I've always had a affection for carbureted bikes. That's what I cut my teeth on. Mm-hmm. I mean, my very first Harley was in 1996 Sportster, and then a couple months later, I got a Dyna FXD, and so I cut my teeth on. I mean, I remember when I first started hanging around you guys, and you guys are talking about all this technology shit and EFI tuners and stuff. And I'm like, fuck that, man. I remember back in the day when you took a carburetor off and you broke it apart and you put in a Thunderslide kit or you put in Mikuni and you replaced the pilot jets and you did all this. And you guys are looking at me like, why would you want to do all that? That's old technology. And I was like, because I loved it. It was like really working on stuff, kind of like
you probably still use an abacus instead of a calculator too, don't you?
I don't know. I don't know what that is. I'm dumb.
It's a little thing with the beads on it that you push back and forth to do the counting.
The old school calculator.
But I really enjoyed just like pickups, an old carbureted pickup where you can kind of work on it. Some of those old Chevys and Dodges and Fords where you replaced your own starters. I kind of miss that time and era. And I miss fiddling, working for 4 hours in a day, fiddling with the jets and taking it for a test ride to see what's going to work best and pulling the plugs and checking it. Yeah, I get it. The EFIs are a lot better. You can just put the computer up to it or you just put your phone and download it. I love that too now because now I've really grown, especially with the Vance & Hines FP3. It makes your whole life way easier. But there's still a little side of me that was nostalgic and thinking, I think I want to go with a carbureted bike and go back to kind of fiddling with stuff. Does that make sense, guys? I mean,
no,
you guys.
It does, especially if you've got two. You've got your touring bike and now you got Chola. So to be able to have both of them makes sense.
He's got the Victory Magnum with the latest, greatest, EFI stuff, and then he's got Chola with the carburetor. And by the way, if you guys want a Fuel Pack 3, don't forget to get it from us, from Big Daddy down there, because he runs the store, lawabidingbiker.com/store. He's got the Fuel Pack 3s in stock. We're shipping them like crazy, and we'll hook you up with one. Awesome prices, guys. But yeah, no, Rick, and I know that it's not. It's actually music to many listeners' ears out there right now, because we have different kinds of listeners. We have the ones that have a lot of new stuff, and some of them are like you, where they have several bikes, and they have an older one and a newer one. And I think there is something really nostalgic about, working on carburetor, because even if you didn't work on motorcycles, we all grew up with carburetors, whether it was a motorcycle or me and Lurch fiddling with carburetors in my Chevy truck. We have all fiddled and put parts in carburetors, whether your lawn tractor, whatever. So
the Holly double pumper on
the Holly
Mustang.
Holly 4-barrel, baby. Yeah. And so we all grew up. I grew up with my dad putting a 4-barrel on a Chevy truck because we were towing trailers and we needed more juice, and so, no, I think it is. And I know there's lots of listeners that are like, yeah, I like that old school shit, so no, it's good. It's awesome, man.
Yeah. And this ended up being when I first started researching this a year and a half ago, what I found was a lot of comments and forums and stuff about these are the parts that you need and a list on how to do it. But I actually, when I really got serious this time, I actually found a guy that was putting together a complete kit. And when I first saw the website, I was like, "Ooh, this website looks a little old. I hope this guy's still in business." And so I ended up talking to him, and he is. And he has put together what he considers the premier M&M EFI to carb conversion kit. And I have to agree. It's been a great process, and it was a lot cheaper.
So this guy wasn't. This guy sounds like. I mean, he can't sell a ton of these things, right?
I didn't ask him about how much he's selling, but this guy, let's put it like this: his bikes in the 70s were on Chopper magazine.
Throw his name out there. I'm okay with it, even though he's not sponsored. Throw his name out there if you have it.
Well, his name is Wayne, and the company is 4x4tough, TUFF.com.
Okay.
And he does performance stuff for V-Rods. He does performance stuff for Jeeps. The site, he actually has it for the EFI conversion, this carb conversion. And man, he just had great customer service. Sent me the kit within a couple days and then followed up with me a week later to make sure I'd gotten the 3 or 4 Harley parts I needed, and called me every day after that until I got it, because it was shipped from a local Harley-Davidson dealership. There's a few Harley parts, specific parts that you need, like the wiring harness and stuff.
So he's a lot like you, running the store, taking care of people still, bikers taking care of bikers.
Yeah, I mean, he called me every day to check to see if I'd gotten these packages from the Postal Service, and I was like, yeah, I'll call you when I get it. So it was pretty cool. And
well, throw him a link after this episode comes out. Throw him a link and say we gave him a shout out. Man, he sounds like a pretty good guy.
Yeah, he was. And so I went with the carb conversion kit that he sells, which is basically you are stripping the complete Marelli EFI system off, and you are completely rebuilding this bike into a carbureted bike. And
what's the price point we talking here, bro? Because you said $2,500 for the conversion.
$1,250 for everything.
So half the price.
Half the price plus some. Obviously, I had to pay my mechanic buddy some money, because we were getting into some stuff that you and I spoke about this, but we were getting into some stuff that we had never really ventured before. Replacing clear-on EFI systems, replacing the ECM with a new single-fire ignition system. There was some specific stuff that
we wanted to do it, but we honestly couldn't even find time to take on a project like that, because we got another bike on the lift and bar jobs, and we just it was just one that it would be cool if we would have had months to mess with it. But sometimes you just gotta, on something like that, just forget about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, this guy that I had do it, he had never done one, but he felt very confident that he could do it. And then you get the warranty, of course, his labor on his warranty and stuff like that. And he's been a good mechanic buddy of mine. So
local guy, huh?
Yeah, local guy, owns
just runs a motorcycle shop.
Yeah, runs a local shop here in Richland called V-Twin City, or City V-Twin.
Does he just do mechanical stuff, or does he have a storefront?
He doesn't really have a storefront. He sells like a few helmets and some cleaning supplies and stuff like that. And he'll sell you any part that you can get.
He just orders it all for you. One of those.
Yeah, he's a drag specialties guy.
Right.
Great guy. His dad used to be the finance director for the city. So
cool.
I knew his dad a little bit. So a really cool guy, but you're talking $1,250 versus $2,500. And the kit includes, so you're basically stripping all of the EFI system off.
Yeah, carburetor, you don't need none of that shit anymore. You're done. You're stripping everything out.
ECM, harnesses is gone. And what you're basically, this guy, the kit that he put together includes a Mikuni HSR 42 slide carburetor, which is pretty well known as one of the best performance carburetors out there. They have some cons to them, just like the S&S carbs. You know, some people say they're a little bit older technology, but some people swear by them. I've had good luck with Mikunis, but I've actually also got a second carburetor system that I'm prepared to switch over to if I decide to, and that will be the Screaming Eagle CV 44 millimeter carb system with manifold and Screaming Eagle high flow air intake kit. Just in case. I actually bought a second set of carbs. Second carb. I bought a second carb just in case I wasn't happy with the Mikuni.
I find that very hard to believe.
Whatever. Oh, leave it to Rick, man. So so wow, you got a backup carb now.
Well,
carry that in your saddlebag.
No. But when you're dealing with a 2001 bike and you're doing a conversion like this, I didn't know how it was going to respond with the Mikuni HSR 42. And like I said, I've installed several. I've installed one on a Dyna, and I installed one on that 2003 Electric Glide Standard. But the Mikunis are great carbs.
What about sorry, keep that Mikuni. But did this kit that you bought from this guy, did it come with the carb, or was that separate from the kit?
No, it came with it.
Okay.
The kit, you get a single fire ignition system with 16 programmable functions. Single fire is a better option. Most carbureted stock Harleys were dual fire systems. A single fire system is a little bit hotter spark, a little bit cleaner spark, a little bit more high performance. And so this has a single fire ignition system. It came with Excel 8.8 millimeter plug wires, Excel platinum plugs, Pingle high flow fuel valve, petcock for what most people would call it. Goes with a Pingle system, which is a very fast flowing high flow systems that could keep up with a little bit more high performance, more demands. It comes with the Mikuni HSR 42 complete system. So it comes with the Mikuni carb, the polished manifold, and then a performance manifold. And then, of course, it comes with the Mikuni Kane type filter high flow system. And so that's what is installed, that entire system. It comes with like some braided fuel lines and stuff like that, because you got to remember, you're rebuilding this. I mean, it's crazy what's all involved with this. It's not just stripping down the system and throwing a new manifold and a carb in there. I mean, you're installing an ignition system. You're
basically converting from a lot of wires to get rid of your ECM and then somehow tying those wires into your new ignition system. That's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a wiring harness that you get from Harley that is what I got. Was an actual wiring harness from Harley-Davidson that now goes into that. And then you got to remember you're tuning the carburetor now to your bike, which
Are you searching for new and exciting motorcycle products? Then Zero 3D has just what you're looking for. Check out their wide variety of innovative products for Harley-Davidson motorcycles. Zero 3D's got your back with chrome, lighting, and comfort products. No modifying, cutting, grinding, or welding for a super easy installation. That equals less time installing, guys, more time riding. Zero 3D has a design team with over 40 years experience with a passion for design and innovation. These guys are bikers and care about bikers just like you guys. That's right. They pride themselves on the best of customer service. Got a question? Get in touch with them via email, sales@zero3d.com, or give them a call at 715-808-0027. Zero 3D is distributed in the United States by Drag Specialties, in Europe by Parts Europe and Zodiac, and in Asia by Twin Art. Of course, don't forget to check your Harley-Davidson dealership and ask for Zero parts. Head over there right now. Check them out, lawabidingbiker.com/Zero, CIRO, and tell them that the Law Abiding Biker crew sent you.
He did a pretty good job, and then I did some fine tuning with it, and then I even had a dyno tune just to make sure that I was right on with it with my tuning.
Who dynoed it?
I was.
Where'd you get it dynoed?
Tri-Cities.
Okay, they have a dyno down, or the dealership?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Pretty good numbers for an 88. I mean, I shared them with you guys.
Right, in the private Patron Facebook, yeah.
Yeah, stock 88, and I was producing 72 horsepower, and I don't have cams or nothing. All I did was just this carburetor conversion, still running stock headers and everything. And I was pushing out, I think it was, what was it, 82 or 86 foot-pounds of torque, something like that. And considering a stock 103 is like 90 foot-pounds of torque,
right,
and horsepower 76 horsepower, I'm producing 4 less horsepower than a 103 with a 88 with 54,000 miles. So I don't think that's too bad.
No, not at all. That's awesome.
It gets up and scoots pretty good, but yeah, it comes with the whole entire kit for 1250 comes with that Mikuni HSR 42. And the Mikunis have a little bit, they're a slide carb rather than a constant velocity, which is the CV carb that Harley-Davidson comes with stock. So there is some tuning deals. Mikunis are meant to be tuned for performance and race applications typically. So one of the things that I deal with is every once in a while, like when the fuel is shut off, I'll have a little bit of a hiccup when I go to put on the gas when it's cold. Those little things kind of bother me a little bit. So I just pre-prepared saying that if I ended up not liking this Mikuni, I pre-prepared by ordering a proper era Screaming Eagle 44 millimeter carb manifold in the air intake, because some of that stuff, it's not as though you can just throw the stuff that you can get at Harley-Davidson now. You have to order it and get it in what they have in old stock. They don't produce a lot of this stuff anymore.
Gotcha.
You have to buy old stock stuff. And luckily I found a dealer down in Utah that is able to get it for me. So I went ahead and bought it, and we'll just keep it just in case if my carb goes bad, I always have it. Because I'm not getting rid of this bike, like I said. But there's a lot of work involved, not just redoing the wiring harness, installing the carb, installing the ignition, but you also have to convert the gas tank away from EFI into a carbureted function gas tank. And that was actually the most tricky part. And that guy, Marv, warned me about that.
Well, explain that, because I know the audience has got some questions. What is the difference between a carbureted gas tank and an EFI gas tank?
Well, the first thing on your EFI, you have your valve that goes in, right? That's going in that sucks your fuel. Well, the petcock is a different size and a different size. So you actually have to plug the old EFI.
Why? Because the other one's given too much fuel?
No, it's because the petcock is a certain thread size, and it's not the same size as the EFI systems.
Okay.
So you actually end up putting a plug in where the fuel valve originally was, where you would disconnect for your EFI, and then you have to drill a new hole in the tank to install the petcock. And
so it's just a matter of a different petcock size. We're not sure why. It's okay if we don't. I'm asking. Why is it a different petcock size?
Yeah, you don't have a petcock on your EFI bikes. You just have the...
Well, it's a sleeve, and I mean, basically it's a one-stop valve.
Yeah,
it's a stop valve.
It's just different, and then so you have to put the petcock
Okay, it's just
in.
different, but it really doesn't mean it runs different. It just their standard use is a different size.
Well, petcock to an EFI is completely different. I mean, obviously, the petcock is using a mechanical valve,
right? That you're turning off and on,
reserve and off and on. But the thread
I'm tracking.
is different. So you have to plug the EFI hole, and then you have to drill a new one, and you have to be pretty careful with it. I mean, you screw it up, you're buying a new tank. I mean, you really get one shot at it.
Well, and right. Anytime you're plugging holes, you need to be real careful. Sometimes you only get one shot.
Well, this isn't plugging. This is drilling it out.
Right.
So you got to be extra careful because you want to leave a good impression.
Right.
On the first time.
Especially when you're drilling it. Right. Exactly. You just want, you may never get a second chance to drill that hole.
Yeah. So. But Marv pre-warned me that he's like, if you do anything, you take your time. And so that was another reason why you and I decided to let my mechanic buddy because if he screws it up, it's on him. Right.
Right.
And so,
and it was just a time consuming. Really, it's because we're overloaded here right now. We would have loved to do it. Maybe we will if we ever get an opportunity in the future. But really, Rick can tell you we won't get into it. And Matt sitting here, we're just freaking buried coming into spring here with stuff and videos that we need to do. And it just was one that was like, how useful. Because they're honestly, there's not that many people out there that are ever going to do this. Like it's that's why I asked you that guy that sells that stuff. That's a handful of people that want to make this conversion. I mean, a handful of people, you know?
Yeah,
So
that's what I told you when I said, do you really want to film this? Because we're probably not going to be able to sell it.
have 10 viewers.
I mean, you might have like 5 people that want to do this over the next 5 years.
Correct.
And maybe there's more out there. Maybe we'll hear more feedback from people. And if you look on the blogs, there seems to be a lot of interest in it, but it's expensive and it's a lot of work. And for us to go and do 3 to 5 days of filming for this, it would have been a lot of work for, you know, a lot of work for a free video.
Right.
And
for no return.
We tried it. Yeah. I mean, but you put the petcock in there and it replaces it with the Pingle. And that was probably, and then of course you're taking out the fuel pump out of the gas tank. You can leave the fuel pump in there, but if you do, it's eating up a quarter of a gallon of space of fuel. So we decided to take that out. So it was quite a job. It was about a full 8-9 hours of work.
So he did it, experienced it. Would have taken us 16 hours just because you're right. It would, right, Matt?
Oh yeah, we've never done it before, so
it would take us a lot longer, double the time. Yeah, so he did it efficiently in 8-9 hours. That's pretty good. That's better than I thought.
Yeah, so it's been running. It's been on. I put about 400 miles on it since I've gotten it back over the last couple of weeks, maybe 350 or so. It's running good. I still have that little bit of hiccup with that Mikuni carburetor when I let off the fuel and go to take a corner and get back into it, unless I load it up with fuel. Unless I load it up beforehand. But you never know. We may bring it. I know we've got some other part videos we're looking at doing, but you never know. We may just take off that Mikuni and throw on that Screaming Eagle constant velocity carburetor one day just for giggles and see how it runs with that.
Right. And I've got a good guy expert, like we brought on Evan to do electrical stuff. I've got another guy, Matt, who I've talked about before, who does the how-to motorcycle repair, does all different kinds of bikes that I'm kind of in a group with. And he wants to come on and talk all about carburetors. And he's like an expert. He's an engineer and he knows everything about carburetors. If you have any questions, dude, I can hook you up with him, Rick. He's freaking like a carburetor expert.
I think that'd make a good podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the CV carbs are good carbs. I mean, the constant velocity system, is as close to EFI type response as you can get. I mean, it's they're good carbs. It's just that, for performance, even the Screaming Eagles, like this carb that I've got is a 44 millimeter Screaming Eagle with a performance polished manifold and everything for it. But it's not the same. I mean, those Mikunis and SNS carbs, they dump fuel in and they dump it in now. I mean, they're more performance race type carbs. And some people can tune the Mikunis to get pretty decent mileage, but if you do a lot of research out there, you'll see the average miles per gallon usually with a Mikuni is, 30 to 35. That's about the most you're going to get out of it. I mean, it's meant to dump fuel in and dump it in now. And it's amazing how much faster and more performance this bike has now. Just doing the EFI to carb conversion. It was definitely worth the money, and it gives me a lot of confidence that bike can last me even for years to come. But with 54,000 miles, the next step will probably be this winter. We'll probably be doing a big bore kit and, maybe some head work or something, start getting it to the point to where it isn't a 54,000 mile bike anymore, where some of those parts are a little bit more refreshed.
Yeah. Rock on, dude. And just awesome. And don't forget, guys, if you didn't want to do the full EFI to carb conversion, you can do the EFI basically to EFI to the new Delphi system. So you got some options there. What, Rick, with labor, regardless of what the hourly fee was, how much money straight up done, write the check, did this project cost you if somebody's interested in it with labor and everything?
$2,000.
I thought the parts were $2,500. Oh no, that was for $1,250 for the, never mind. That was for so $1,250 plus labor. Okay. Wow. That's actually, although it's spendy for what you got out of it, it's not as crazy. If you would have told me that before this podcast, I would have thought, no, that's crazy. That's like $5,000,
Well, look at it this way: to replace that cam timing sensor and that neutral throttle was $800. So
Wow.
if I had that thing go out every 2 to 3 years, switching this thing back to carbureted, a mechanical type bike. I mean, yeah, it's got the digital ignition and a single fire ignition, but switching it to a mechanical carb bike, which is what I've always wanted to do anyhow, it's a one-time cost, really. I mean, you buy the carb, like I said, I was able to find brand new CV carb, manifold, and stage 1 air intake for that era bike, brand new from this Harley dealer in Salt Lake for $400. So now I've got an extra whole carb manifold air system for it too. So if I ever do want to try the CV, which if I go to the CV, I think that may actually open me up to where I can even maybe install a cruise control. So that's why I did it as well.
The CV, the other carburetor.
Yeah, I think once I go to Screaming, I'm not sure yet. I'm gonna have to do some more research on it because some of those Screaming Eagle CV carbs were not set up to accept cruise control without an adapter. And I've installed a couple cruise control units. I installed one on my 03 electric light standard, and I installed one on my 2010 classic, electric classic, that didn't come with the cruise, and I actually bought the cruise and installed that myself. So, there's a lot of options out there. It'll be interesting to see, and you guys will get to follow Chola. I mean, I know that it's a popular topic. It's an older bike, so people like to hear about what we're doing with it. Just like I can't wait till you guys talk about this MTX bar project in more detail.
Definitely, man. And we did a little podcast on it already, right? Lurch, we already did a podcast on it, but we finally finished the project, which we'll get into in another episode. But yeah, dude, if there's anything else that you want to say, Rick, before we wrap it up, about anybody who's thinking about this, about like, ooh, be careful of this, or any words of wisdom, or
I would say that if you're going to go on a blog, and this isn't talking in any bad stuff, but there's a lot of people out there that have done this, and they have really good intentions, and they'll list all the parts that they sought and researched and acquired to do their own jobs. And that's great. But I am glad that I went with this guy, and he had the all-in-one kit already put together with what he considered the best performance parts at this time. And he's evolved the kit over the years. He's been selling this kit for over 15 years. And he's got he sent me a lot of reviews from people. And so I'm glad that I went with this guy who gave me the entire kit all in one, so I didn't have to worry about going on to a wholesale Harley-Davidson parts distributor and ordering a new wiring harness and doing that. At least this one, I literally added it to a cart. I spoke to him about it, and I was able to get it all done in one shot. All I had to do was pay my mechanic buddy a little bit of bones to help me get it done. And it was cool getting to watch it done and stuff like that. And I'd probably take it on after seeing everything. I would probably take it on myself. But there is something to be said about a guy that's an expert and is really well tuned and has the exact same carburetor on his Road King that's the exact same years as yours. There's some trust in that. So
totally. Lurch, you have any follow-up questions?
No, I don't think so. I think we got it all. Well, I have one, actually. There's one. You brought up the sound. The bike sounds a little different now with the carbs versus EFI.
Yeah, I think it's just the way that a carbureted bike and naturally aspirated carbureted bike versus a EFI works. It seems to be a little louder and have a little bit more lope to it, even though I didn't change the cam, just the way it runs.
They definitely lope more. Carbureted bikes always do that lope. They just do.
I like it. So I like it. But EFI bikes are generally kind of like da, 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 da. And this is like and I kind of like that.
Right on.
Yeah, no, that's very typical. Talking of nostalgia and going back to carburetor bikes, that was one of the things that you hear a lot from guys in the past that own carbureted bikes. and then they switched to EFI, although EFI overall is a better system depending on what you're trying to do, but for efficiency and mileage and power. But there is something very nostalgic about them. They definitely get that lope, guys. Man, great freaking episode, guys. Don't ride without the Slide Bikeaholics Bug Slide. Absolutely the best waterless motorcycle cleaner on the market. That's right, Bug Slide, tried and tested right here by the Law Abiding Biker crew, is our number one go-to waterless motorcycle cleaner. It cleans, shines, degreases while removing bugs and other surface contaminants with ease. Lurch. Use it on your motorcycle, car, boat, and more. Never need to wax again. That's right. The release agent in Bug Slide contains a UV filter for added protection. It's free of abrasive, safe on all non-porous surfaces. Lurch. Yes, even safe on that
denim paint.
Harley denim paint, which we get questions about, guys. We believe in it so much, we carry it in stock right in the Law Abiding Biker store. lawabidingbiker.com/store. Big Daddy Kane right here, who is part of this episode, has it ready to ship to you direct in stock right now, sitting there with his box, sitting there with his tape, with his peanuts. He's ready to throw some bottles in for you guys. That's right. Get hooked up. That's right. You know where it comes from, and you know the store. It's the store you can trust, and you know exactly the faces and the people you hear on the podcast who are actually shipping this stuff out to you and all that good stuff, guys. All right. Don't forget, email us, lawabidingbiker.com/contact. That's our contact page. Get into the free email club, lawabidingbiker.com/email club. We shoot you emails when we come out with important stuff. We appreciate all the patrons. We appreciate all the donations, the support. If you can't support us financially, then at least get over to iTunes. Even if you don't use the iTunes app, get it. And it's stock on your iPhone, and give us a rating, a 5-star review we prefer.
Well, of course. Be honest, but we'd definitely like a 5-star.
That is right, guys.
Gets us up in the rankings so that others can find us as well.
That's right. So bikers around the world can join the biker revolution, guys. Thanks for being with us.